Well, welcome back to the Mike Scully Show. It is Friday, February 20th, about 10 o'clock Eastern time, or a little short after. And thanks to my boy Kenny bringing us back with I Go Back. To start off this week's show, we got a lot to talk about this morning. There's a lot going on in the sports world and the political world. We'll get a little bit into that as I kind of wrap up the end. The hillbilly hit me with something that I need to share. But today we're 48 days from one of the greatest sporting events in the world, and that's the Masters. And I'm going to start off in the golf world. For those of you that know me well, I've spent a good portion of my life in two areas, golf and football. And golf is still a passion. But our Super Bowl is the Masters. And for me right now, going through, for those of you that don't know, I'm fighting the battle with the big C word. And I'm in Georgia taking treatment, and I go to Augusta about 3 or 4 times a month. And I get to drive right by Augusta National as I go in and do something I don't want to do, but it puts a smile on my face. Go down Washington Avenue and go by T-Bones, and then go by Augusta National on the way into the downtown area, and deal with the great doctors at the Wellstar Health System and the Georgia Cancer Institute. But we've got 48 days to the Masters. But for those of you, though, this week is the Tours in historic Riviera, Tiger's event, and the Genesis Invitational. Guys have limited field, 72 of the best players in the world. Obviously, will be at Riviera. What an unbelievable place. Been fortunate to play there a couple times, and one of the great pros I know out there, Todd Yoshitake. But now I think Jimmy, their general manager, is the former president of the PGA of America, is a great guy. So they have a big week in Los Angeles. Palisades recovering from last year's fires, but hopefully they have a great event. First round yesterday, it seemed to go well. But I'm going to start off giving kudos to 2 people. The big kudos, actually, to be 3. The big kudos last week, for those of you that pay attention to the golf world and watched Live down under in Adelaide down in Australia, saw something happen at 1:33 in the morning Eastern time when Anthony Kim came all the way back and beat 2 of the best players in the world coming from behind in Jon Rahm and Bryson DeChambeau. Now, for AK to come all the way back after what he's been through physically, mentally, fighting substance abuse, getting sober, getting married, having a beautiful daughter, and finding his game again. This was a kid. Now he's 40 years old now, but this was a kid in the 2000s that was right there talent-wise. And I'll give Tiger credit because Tiger actually talked about it at his press conference on Tuesday, just how far AK's come back, and great to see and what he was capable of. I'll never forget him in the 2008 Ryder Cup at Valhalla. Was there. We were getting ready to be a future host site at Medina and got to watch that up close, and it was incredible what he was able and capable to do with a golf club. Could do just about anything, and then had an Achilles injury, and from there it was game over. I think he had a Lloyd's of London insurance policy that paid him, and then he went into unfortunately the depths of hell. So kudos number 1, AK coming all the way back. Great win. Big fan. Rooting hard for you, kid. Kudos to Tiger for talking about it on the Golf Channel, because the Golf Channel with Brandel Dick Chambly not being the biggest fans of Live Golf, nobody really talked about it until Tiger. But the one big kudos goes to my boy Colt Knost. Colt is now in the tower, has worked his ass off. Former world-class player, just an all-around great guy. And Colt gave a shout-out to AK on the live broadcast from Pebble on Sunday, which I thought was incredible. His Subpar podcast with his friend and former also great player, Drew Stoltz, they do an incredible job. Support the game of golf out there in Arizona. Just 2 all-around great dudes. It's all about the hang, and they're 2 of the best at it. And I'm super proud of them and what they've accomplished, and texted back and forth with Colt, telling him I thought it was a world-class move, and just super. So we have to support golf. Golf is golf, and the more golf that can be played, the more money these guys can play for, the more money goes back to charity. Everybody wins, and golf's a game of a lifetime. Dad taught me to play at a very young age. Still coming back after the stroke, trying to get back. That's big goal number one, to be able to play again. Miss my guys down in South Florida in my Saturday morning game. So that's goal, doing this rehab and trying to beat this thing is goal number one, to be able to get back and play golf with my dad, play golf with my brother, play golf with my boys. But again, kudos to my boy Colt and Woodsy. Appreciate what you did and what you're doing. So that's the shout out to golf, and 48 days to the Masters. So it'll be exciting. I thought I wasn't going to be into the Olympics after the political stuff that skiers earlier on. I turned it off, but thank God for the world of hockey and the men's and women's teams sucking me back in. When Lindsay went down on the mountain, I kind of lost the luster. I love to watch her ski. She's such a fiery competitor. I feel terrible. She's home now, recovering. But I just with the time change and the day, I wasn't into it. But damn, the women's hockey team and the win yesterday has got me motivated. Now we got to get the guys to get all the way through, and hopefully we can play Canada and beat Canada. But it's got me sucked in, red, white, and blue. I love on social media seeing all the Herb Brooks clips from when Kurt Russell played him in Miracle, one of the greatest sports movies of all time. Herb, one of the greatest coaches of all time. I think one of the edits at the end of that movie, which is great, that Herb never saw the movie. He lived it. So go USA, and we'll be rooting for you and watching you, and let's bring home some more medals and finish strong over there in Italy. College basketball world is ramping up. We never really talked much about college basketball on our show, except for a certain period of time, but we're leading into that. I know Elliot would be more than excited to talk college basketball if he was here, but he's out in Anaheim right now doing a little conference for our company Baycrest at the Club Managers Association as annual show. So I wish him luck out there with our boy Steve Mills. But is anybody going to beat Michigan? Being an Illinois guy, you know how hard that is for me to say. They are. I don't know. I thought we had a chance. We got what Brad's put together there at Illinois. We got a great team. Got an all-American freshman, maybe freshman player of the year. But I don't know if anybody can beat Michigan. I watched them the other night, just absolutely dispatch of Purdue at Purdue. And you know how hard it is to play in Mackey? That with Gene Keady was there. Matt Painter's done an incredible job there. And he actually in his press conference after the game said, we can't win the Big Ten. He says, that team's not losing the four games. There's no way in hell they're going to lose 4 games. So they're world beaters right now. Dusty May, unbelievable job. How pissed is Ohio State when they maybe possibly had a chance to get Dusty May, and now he's up at Michigan? They can take all the M's off the wall they want in Ohio. They're irrelevant in basketball. Well, they're irrelevant in most sports other than football. Highest NIL I think there is to go, but we'll see. The Illini got to match up against them here before they get to the end of the regular season and get to the tournament. But we'll see how that pans out, and we'll go from there. But that's the college basketball. We're just a couple weeks away from March Madness, believe it or not. Today's February 20th. The year is flying by. Just seems like just yesterday we were in the holiday season and bowl games, and we got the underwear Olympics coming up next week, and with the combine in Indianapolis, and all the guys going in there trying to show off to possibly be draft choices for the NFL. I remember that well. One of my greatest combine stories, where was I in line to run the 40-yard dash? I was behind Randall McDaniel. an All-American out of Arizona State. Ended up being a first-round pick. Is now a Hall of Famer, played great with the Vikings and the Buccaneers through the years. But I think Randall ran a 4.65 at 295 pounds at the time. They needed a sundial to time me. So it was timing is everything in this world. So that was unfortunately my show there. But it was an incredible experience. Hillbilly hit me last night, and he wanted me to talk about, this is not Hillbilly headlines, but he questioned me, being a Chicago guy, born and raised outside of Chicago in the suburbs of Mount Prospect and attending University of Illinois, how I felt about the Bears moving to Hammond, Indiana. There's a reason, well, one of the reasons why I'm not a Bears fan anymore is because they told me they were going to pick me, draft me, and then they didn't do that. So I've swore them off, and then I've raised my kids to be Packer fans. But moving to Hammond, Indiana. Now, I know we have the New York Football Giants and the New York Jets representing New York, and they, for those of you that don't know, they play in New Jersey. The Bears moving to Northwest Indiana, that just doesn't sound right. I thought we were set. They were going to actually take the old Arlington Park racetrack site out there and build, which was about 5 miles from where I grew up. For them, but I don't know. The Bears need to be sold. We need a new owner there in Chicago, kind of like what the Cubs did when the Cubs got sold. What did they do? They won a first World Series in 100 years, or over 100 years. So the Hammond Bears, does that have a ring to it? The Chicago Bears playing in Indiana. It just, Soldiers Field. I actually played my last competitive game in that stadium against the Bears when I was with the Kansas City Chiefs, against my idols. They were on the tail end of their deals. Dan Hampton and Steve McMichael, God bless you, Mongo. Richard Dent, The Fridge, Mike Singletary, Dave Durison, God bless you too, Dave. Lost a couple of great ones there. And at Soldiers Field just has that mystique. I was actually at both playoff games in '85 as a college student with my Uncle Larry and all of his buddies. Froze, sat behind Jimbo Covert's family for the game against the Rams. That's who the Bears are. Outdoors, cold, windy, crappy weather, great defense. We finally maybe have a quarterback there. We'll see. He had a great year this year, but we got to try to string a couple in a row. I like the coach, but Ben Johnson. But we'll see how he shakes out and going forward. But not a big fan of the move to Hammond, Indiana. It's that just doesn't make any sense to me. So, but we'll see how it shakes out. Couple things I want to do before we wrap up this version of this week's show. I posted on X last week, following up a post by two guys that I love, the Bussin' with the Boys, about the great Josh Pate. And for those of you that watched my show last week, I had said that if Nick Saban wasn't going to be the czar or college football commissioner, that we should give the commissionership to Josh Pate. Josh Pate is, like I said last week, a very level-headed guy, understands what college football needs for sure, and I think could be a huge impact on college sports as a whole. He got the highlight of the day yesterday down here in Georgia, in Rome. He was up at the varsity and got to meet the 45th and 47th President of the United States. And he actually taped his show, which will be out this Sunday, with President Trump, and talking NIL and the impacts. I believe just talked all about college football. So it'll be really interesting to see what POTUS has to say there. The haters that are on social media, you can go fuck yourselves. That's the President of the United States. Where have, and this will be my rant for the day, where has the civility gone in this country? It has gone out the frickin' door. I have been very fortunate in my life. I just turned the big 6-0, battling the C word, trying to get my youngest, my last one, through high school. His mom has done an incredible job. And he's going to graduate this spring and then go off and play college baseball and chase his dream. My daughter is married and has a beautiful house and a dog, and they live in Iowa City. She's doing great. My middle child, Peyton, is at University of Arizona Medical School. All three kids, thanks to their respective mothers and some input from me, have become unbelievably great kids. I'm very, very blessed, and tried to teach them civility and treat people the way that you want to be treated. In my profession, in my career, I had a run for a little over a decade at the Great Medina Country Club in Chicago. And being there through a 2006 PGA Championship and then the Ryder Cup, and I'll never forget, but I had the chance to interact with three of the four past presidents or current president of the United States. In 2006 and in 2012, I had some interaction with 43. President Bush, incredible. Actually got to meet 41 too at the Ryder Cup, and had great interaction. I have some unbelievable stories to tell, which we'll save for a later date. But just incredible gentlemen, incredible families, treated me with the utmost respect. Well, how do you want to say this? I was able to host President Trump and the First Lady in 2012 at the Ryder Cup. I was the one responsible for getting them in and around the property. But this was long before President Trump was candidate Trump. Real estate mogul, just unbelievable businessman. And the way he treated me and my people, my staff, was incredible. And then I go back to 2008 in the spring. I got a call from the folks who handled President Obama. Now, at the time, it was candidate Obama, and he had just won the Democratic nomination over Hillary and was going to obviously go against, I think it was McCain, wasn't it, in the first one? Or was McCain or Romney? I can't remember. But President Obama, I got a call. Now, Medina being predominantly Republican, I called our club president at the time, Mr. Potts, John Potts. And Mr. Potts, I've got President Obama, or candidate Obama, wants to come out and play on Saturday morning, which we had no guest play on Saturday morning at the club. That was like, if somebody had guests out there going to get shot, I was going to get shot. And I said, but he can only play Saturday morning. What do we want to do? You know, I don't know if that's going to be met with great fanfare. And I'll never forget the line that Mr. Potts shared with me. He said, Mike, we're going to have him out. We're going to let him play because he's going to be the next president of the United States. And Mr. Potts is a Republican, but he said he'll be the next president of the United States. We respect the office. And those three gentlemen I've been around now a few times, President Bush, President Obama, and President Trump, and have treated me with the utmost respect, have just been more than generous with their time, with other things for me and my family. And where has that civility gone? The folks on X yesterday were beating up Josh Pate for doing this interview with President Trump. And then I'll go off on a little further. Rumor has it that the Seattle Seahawks are going to turn down the trip to the White House. What the fuck are you thinking? You're about as irrelevant a Super Bowl winner as there is, because nobody really pays attention to what goes on in the Great Northwest. You know, or 75 to 80% of the country don't see your games. And now you have the opportunity to come, you won a Super Bowl, and go to the White, you go to respect the office. And until we get that back in this country, these politicians in DC have all lost that. They don't understand it. They don't grasp it. Everybody's looking for clicks and posts, but they don't do anything. I mean, we got a government shutdown going on right now. The only reason they're shutting it down is because they don't like President Trump. Well, yeah, get over it. Chuck Schumer, I'm not going to get started because I'm a conservative Republican. I fall more to the middle than to the far right. But my mom and dad taught me civility. I've tried to teach it to my children. And we've lost that in this country, and that needs to come back. So that's my rant for today. It ties to sports, but kudos to Josh Pate, the next commissioner of college football. Big fan of yours, brother. Keep doing what you're doing. I can't wait to watch on Sunday night. Your interview with Potus at the varsity up there in Rome. And we'll be back next week. We're going to try to figure out how to get the hillbilly and back on the show. Rumor has it Trick is back, and then I believe Elliot's going to be out of the country. So we are going to figure this out and get people back on the show. But I miss my boys. The hillbilly keeps me up inundated. If you're not following at Bets Virginia for your bets and picks and subscribing to his picks, he is like 98, 60, and 2. You're making money, making a lot of money if you're going with my boy, the hillbilly at Bets Virginia. So as my boy Kenny Chesney will take us out, we go back. I will see you next Friday for another edition of the Mike Scully Show, and hope to have my boys back in the show with me. I'll be over my shoulder. That number 5 is my son, Jackie, and I'll be in Arizona doing the show from Arizona next week, watching him break off into the beginning of his high school senior year of baseball. So go Cactus Shadows Falcons, and let's hit some homers. See you guys.